That's why. All right, it is recorded now, and I'm gonna record on my phone just in case. All right. So, all right. Hi, Catherine. Welcome to Sun and Soil podcast.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. If you could just start off by introducing yourself, what you do, and introducing your company too, that'd be awesome.
That'd be fantastic. So my name is Catharine Arnston. I'm the founder, CEO, and chief scientific officer of EnergyBITS. We're an algae tablet company. And I got into this because my sister developed breast cancer 15 years ago. She's fine now, but when she was preparing for her chemotherapy, her oncologist told her she needed to change her diet to an alkaline diet, which was basically a plant-based diet because of the chlorophyll and the phytonutrients. So that helped build your immune system. So I helped her find out what those plants were, which led me to algae, the most alkaline, nutrient-dense plant in the world, first life on Earth, by the way, 4 billion years ago, that no one outside of Asia seemed to know about it. It's a multi-billion-dollar agricultural crop in Asia, but and that's where it's all grown, and that's where it's all pretty much all used. I'm going to show you a picture because people seem to think that algae is a supplement, and I'm going to show you a couple of algae farms. So here's a spirulina farm, and this is a chlorella farm. Spirulina grows long and narrow. But so a couple important things to know: that algae is not a supplement. Supplements are made in factories with extracts that don't exist in nature, and they use high heat to make everything. And algae is a food crop, no different than lettuce, broccoli. So it's, we're unusual. We don't use high heat to dry our algae. Almost all the other companies out there, they're lower priced, higher volume, so they need to get to market quickly. So they use high heat to dry their algae, which kills the enzymes. And I'm going to talk to you about a couple of important enzymes that are absolutely critical for your health and protecting your mitochondria from free radical damage. And well, it's spoiling the punchline. One of them is called superoxide dismutase, which I know is a mouthful, also known as SOD, but all the other algae out there that has high heat that's been used to dry it, it's dead, it's useless, it won't be helping you like ours will. But importantly, you need to know that algae is a food, number one, and ours and many other companies is not from the ocean. Yes, there is algae in the ocean. It's actually also in the lakes, the rivers, the streams, the soil, your swimming pool, your aquarium. It's everywhere. But the algae that is consumed, spirulina and chlorella, for health and wellness and nutritional benefits, is grown in fresh water, not the ocean. The ocean, sadly, as we all know now, is full of toxins. So you don't want any algae that comes from the ocean because it's very hard to remove the toxins. So what we do is we grow it in fresh water, and then we air dry it without high heat into a powder. And then we press them into these little tablets that we call bits, because they are bits of food, dried bits of food. And I'm going to show you what they look like. They're these little tiny tablets here. This one is chlorella, which is a green algae, and this is spirulina, which is a blue-green algae. So you can see how the spirulina is a much darker color because of that blue pigment called phycocyanin, which looks like this. It's a very beautiful blue that comes out of the spirulina. Now, the spirulina and chlorella are completely different algae, and they do completely different things in your body, and you take them for completely different times and for different purposes. But both of them have so much nutrition that each one of these little tablets, okay, look how tiny it is, right? Each one of these has the same nutrition as an entire plate of vegetables. One tablet equals that, and almost nobody in America is getting their daily requirement of fruits or vegetables. And, I was sort of chuckling about your podcast name being Sun and Soil. And algae's not, there is algae in the soil. In fact, they use it for fertilizer because it's so healthy. But our algae and most of the spirulina and chlorella is grown in the ocean, which is also, I'll just do a little segue. A lot of people stop eating plants. They go into a carnivore diet or a paleo diet, because some people are sensitive to lectins and oxalates that are found in plants. These are sharp called proteins, and the plants develop them. Any land plant develops lectins and oxalates as a way to evolutionary, as a way to protect themselves from predators, bugs or animals, because they taste terrible and they damage your stomach lining. But algae's never developed those because it came from the ocean. It came from water. So it's never had to develop lectins and oxalates to protect itself. That's why there's a doctor by the name of Dr. Stephen Gundry, who's quite well known. He's a heart surgeon, but he's now very focused on wellness. He's a big proponent of algae because it gives you all the nutrition of plants, but none of the downside, with things from lectins and oxalates. So it's important for your sun and soil community to know that algae offers the benefits of plants that would have been grown in soil, except it's 1,000 times more nutrient dense. We have a quote from NASA that says 1 gram of algae has the same nutrition as 1,000 grams of vegetables. 1 to 1,000. That's how I came up with that calculation of 1 tablet, because based on the weight equals basically 8 servings or a full serving of vegetables. So, and also, by the way, algae's been endorsed, spirulina in particular, has been endorsed by the United Nations as the answer to world hunger for 50 years, because it has 3 times the amount of protein as steak. There's nothing in the world with more protein than spirulina algae, and I can get into some more detail about that. So it's, and here's the thing. We need algae desperately now for more reasons than you can imagine, and we'll get into some of the health benefits. But the reality is, and as a soil specialist, you'll know this, our soils have been so overcropped that there's virtually no nutrition, no minerals left in them for the plants to pull up. So that when you eat vegetables, even if you're eating organic, they just don't have the nutrition that they had 50 years ago. A lot of our vegetables are grown in foreign countries, so they're harvested before they are ripe, which prevents the full amount of nutrients to get into the leaves or the fruit. So when you're eating them, you're getting fiber and sugar and calories, but you're not getting the nutrition that your grandparents had. You either need, to have your own farm or your own garden for sure, and desperately need algae, because algae will fill all of the nutritional gaps, and we'll go through all that in a few minutes. The other thing, that's the reason why the plants are so devoid of nutrients anymore, is because of the ozone layer being so damaged. Here's your sun part of your sun soil podcast, right? And so what they've done testing on the plants and found that they now contain more sugar and carbs and fewer nutrients. There's a great article, I'll send you the link to it, where scientists are calling this the great nutrient collapse, because our soils do not have the nutrients that the plants need any longer, and many of our big crops are basically useless crops anyways. Corn, wheat, they do not contribute any nutritional value, and in fact they're inflammatory because they are full of carbs. So you're not getting the nutrients that you need, and if you do eat plants that are grown here, they're not contributing nutritional value. And then on the downside, the ozone layer is so damaged, and also our oceans are so damaged because of over fishing. People are looking for omega-3, and they're using fish oil for that omega-3. And I remind people, well, where do you think the fish get the omega-3 from? They get it from algae. And so you can have a great improvement in your health by taking algae for a variety of reasons. Whatever you take it for, you'll get other benefits. But if one of them is to replace your omega-3 with a vegan source that will never go rancid, by the way, like fish oil does, it oxidizes. And so now something you're taking for anti-inflammatory purposes is actually inflammatory. Never happens with algae. It's the most alkaline food in the world and stops inflammation, and we'll talk about that in a minute. And at the same time, you can support the oceans. They don't have a voice here, those little fishes. Thank God for a show, Netflix. They did a movie, a documentary called Seaspiracy that I encourage everyone to watch if you have not watched it yet. It documents the overfishing and the damage that's happening to the oceans because of all of this overfishing. And so, we need to speak up on behalf of the rest of our environment, because it doesn't have a place at the table here, dinner table, in fact. And algae is the most sustainable, eco-friendly crop in the world, and we can talk more about that. And also, it protects your health in a way that no other food, no supplement, and no drug can do, and it does it all naturally, thanks to Mother Nature.
That's awesome. And can I ask, it's just crazy how like that many vegetables and stuff like is the equivalent of one tiny tablet. How are all those nutrients condensed into something so small?
Well, so here's the thing, and I'll sort of give you a broader view of what algae is. So algae is its own food category because it's technically not a plant, it's not a fruit, and it's not an animal. So it's its own food category, sort of like mushrooms. And as I mentioned, it was the first life on Earth, and the first life was what's called a cyanobacteria. By the way, you'll find out in a minute, spirulina is a cyanobacteria. It is a bacteria, no cellulose wall. So it's not even, no fiber, definitely not part of the plant kingdom. But anyways, back to algae as an overall arching category. So there's two main types of algae. One is called macroalgae and the other one is microalgae. We're mostly talking about microalgae here. But let me refresh you on what macroalgae is. It's that big stringy stuff that washes up on shore, also known as seaweed or dulse or kelp. Now, it's good for you because it has lots of fiber and iodine because it comes from the ocean, and it's called seaweed because that's the only place it's found is the sea. But it has virtually no nutrition. You can eat an entire bag of kelp noodles, and I think there's a company based in San Diego, in fact, that does make kelp noodles, and I think they're terrific, but there's about 5 calories in an entire bag because there's virtually no nutrition. So it's good for you for the fiber and for the iodine, but not for nutrition, and it's only in the sea. The other algae is microalgae, and that's what we're talking about. And it's called microalgae because it's microscopic in size. It is so tiny, you absolutely cannot see it. And here's the thing, it is so tiny, I read a statistic that 1 million of these cells could fit on the head of a pin. So now you start to understand the concentration of nutrition when you take something that tiny that was the first life on Earth and is generating, is so concentrated in nutrition. When you consolidate it into one of these tablets, you start to understand why it has so much nutrition. Now, the other interesting thing about microalgae is, unlike macroalgae that's only in the sea, microalgae is everywhere. As I mentioned, the oceans for sure, it's what feeds the whales and all the fishies. It's in the lakes, the rivers, the streams, your soil. And, I'll do a little segue, but they've also found that it's great to include in fertilizer or animal feed. And just on the animal feed, a couple of big issues regarding acidity. And remember, I got into this because my sister's oncologist told her to change her diet to an alkaline diet to help with her immunity. Well, the animals have the same issue. Your cells need to be slightly alkaline. There's a scale of 0 to 14. And your cells need to be 7.1, which is just slightly alkaline. Your blood, by the way, needs to be 7.34, which is even more alkaline. And when it's alkaline, that's indicative of oxygen being present and that the cells are healthy. There's a gentleman by the name, well, he long time passed away, but a scientist, in fact, in Germany, his name is Otto Warburg. He won a Nobel Prize in 1941 for discovering that cancer can not exist in an alkaline environment. Cancer can only exist in an acidic cell. And so the key to preventing disease, both for you and your pets or the animals at large, is to keep the cells slightly alkaline for many health reasons, but particularly to prevent disease. Now, just as an example, they found, fish farming has become very big. And I don't know if you know what fish farming is, but what they do is they create a netted area that is close to the shore. And this is where they keep a lot of fish. They grow the fish. But a lot of countries were banning the fish farming because the fish were pooping and the poop was acidic. and was killing all the life in the water, and it was washing up on shore and killing all the life on shore. So they did an experiment and they fed the fish algae. Problem solved, because the acidity was what was causing the damage, not the poop. So now the poop was alkaline, harmless. Same thing with animal farms. We all know that livestock, cattle, generate 15% of methane emissions. And it's because they're fed corn. Corn is acidic. Please, anyone who's listening, don't eat corn. It's all GMO anyways, and it's very acidic and very inflammatory. So, rather than, I'm big on regenerative agriculture. So it's not the animal's fault. And, we ate animal protein from the very beginning when we were cavemen. So it's what we're doing to the animals that's the problem. Feeding them corn is, it gives them gas. It will give you gas too, because it's acidic. It changes the pH of your body. So they did an experiment and they put algae in the feed. Problem solved. Fart's gone. And actually, most of it's actually burping. That's the methane, not actually the other side. So algae, it doesn't seem to do, like, I've been studying algae for 13 years, and I could talk to you for 24 hours solid and not even come close to telling you all the amazing things that algae does for you and for the environment and for the animals and for our stomach and for our nutrition and preventing disease. But, I'll do my best to give you a few of them here.
Cool. Well, that's very interesting. And you here popped up, you said that one of the algae does not have a cell wall, doesn't have fiber. And you hear the term cell wall cracked pop up a lot. Could you talk about what that means and how that's done?
Sure. Well, and that's referring to chlorella. So this is a great segue, thank you very much, to talk to you about the two different algae. So spirulina is the dark one. It's the blue-green algae, two pigments in it. And it's always been known as being an energizing and nourishing algae, which is why we call ours EnergyBITS, because we thought that was a little bit easier for people to remember than spirulina. And it is packaged in blue because it's a blue-green algae. Now, how does it give you that energy, you may ask? Well, it has the highest protein in the world, and all the protein is in individual aminos. Animal protein is all bound up and can take days to break down into aminos to be absorbed. Collagen powder has what's called peptides, which are clusters of aminos, and algae protein is individual aminos, which makes them bioavailable, the most bioavailable protein in the world. And then spirulina is loaded with B vitamins. B vitamins convert the protein into energy, into glucose, which feeds your mitochondria. And we'll get to the mitochondria in a minute, because mitochondria are what fuel your life, fuel your body. They create something called ATP, which is the energy used by your cells to do everything: walking, talking, sleeping, breathing, heartbeat, lymphatic system. You can't live without ATP energy. And you're going to find out algae has the few nutrients that can protect it, that normally your body makes until you're 30. You guys are clearly under the age of 30, so you're good to go, but you want to be prepared, because when you hit 30, you don't have that protection anymore. And this is why chronic disease is so prevalent in people once they hit 40 and 50. In fact, 50% of Americans currently have a chronic disease, and 80% of people over 65 have a chronic disease. 80%. By the way, I'm in that age group. I'm 66, and I don't have any chronic diseases because I eat a lot of algae. But anyway, so spirulina, very energizing, nourishing, gives you energy naturally from the protein. The energy is a cellular energy. And the way I've just found a good way to describe it. So money, think about money. You can be given $100, and the way you spend your money is going to be quite different than the person down the street. Maybe you'll go buy some seeds to grow a garden, and somebody else will buy a pair of shoes, and somebody else will go to a show. But it's energy, gives you the opportunity to do something with something that's basic. Cellular energy is the same way. So because spirulina generates cellular energy, if you decide to take it before you go to sleep, you're going to have the best sleep of your life. If you take it before you go for a run, you're going to run faster or further, and you won't even notice it. Or if you decide that you want to write an exam or you're going driving, your brain acuity will be improved. So whatever you do with the energy you get from the spirulina is a cellular energy, and it's your choice how you use it. So it's pretty cool. It's like a whole new currency, and it's an important way to understand energy, because we only think about getting energy from stimulants, caffeine or chemicals or sugar, and those are inflammatory, maybe not coffee, but certainly sugar. And you get a rush and a crash. With algae, spirulina in particular, I call it quiet energy. You won't even notice it until you start doing something. And then you realize, wow, I ran further than I ever have before, and I didn't even feel anything. So there's no drama with algae. I think that's why I'm a no drama kind of gal. I just want to get to understand why something is working, figure all the science out. And I am totally buttoned up on science, although I am self-taught, I will tell you, but it's no drama. So that's spirulina, very energizing and nourishing. 0 carbs, by the way. So if you're doing intermittent fasting, it does not interfere with it doesn't break your fast. It does not decrease your ketones. It does not increase your glucose, scientifically proven, and we've tested it ourselves. 1 calorie. So if you're on a weight loss program, this could be a meal replacement. Have 10 in the morning to get you out the door. It's as easy as you can imagine. Just swallow these with water. Most people do swallow the spirulina. It's very chewy because of the high protein and very high essential fatty acids. And so it's, I eat mine, but most people swallow it. Chlorella we'll talk about in a minute. It tastes a little bit better. And people love it with, sunflower seeds or macadamia nuts. But anyway, so very nourishing. So most people take spirulina in the morning because that's when you're hungry, you're tired, or have 20 or 30 for a meal replacement. There is no upper limit. We have NHL players that take 75 before a game. So it's food. It's like eating a big salad, except it's nutrient dense. So that's spirulina. Now, and as I mentioned briefly, it has no cellulose wall. So in Japan, if babies can't digest mother's breast milk, the only thing that keeps them alive is spirulina and water. And I've learned that it's because the nutrient profile is virtually identical to mother's breast milk, including something called GLA, which is an essential fatty acid. And normally it's an omega-6, and normally omega-6s are inflammatory, but because this omega-6 has no heat, at least ours does not have heat, it behaves like an omega-3. And as proof that omega-6s are good for you if they are not exposed to heat is mother's breast milk is the only thing that has more GLA in it than spirulina, and it's because it helps the baby's brain develop. So because there's no cellulose wall, there's no fiber, which means it's easy to digest. Babies, teenagers, older people who have digestive issues often as they get older, it's good for everybody. And it gets absorbed instantly because, and especially if you eat it, it gets sublingually into your mouth. So very rapid absorption, high availability, can replace most of your multivitamins and certainly fish oil because it's so bioavailable. But let's switch over to chlorella because this is where the cracked cell wall question comes in. So in contrast to spirulina that has no cellulose wall, chlorella has the hardest cell wall in the plant kingdom. Now, you have to crack that cell wall at production or the nutrients would not be available to your body. There's 40 vitamins and minerals in both of them, but they are in different proportion and they do different things. So you definitely want that nutrition. Now, I'll talk about the profile of chlorella in a second, but I want to address the cracked cell wall and why we are different from most other algae companies. So there's the original impetus to grow algae was in Japan. There's actually a longer story, but we don't have time for that. It started in America, but whatever. So in Japan, that's where really the chlorella and the algae industry flourished. It took them 10 years to figure out how to grow it for mass consumption. And there's a company called Sun Chlorella, which I'm very grateful to. They were the original company. And they are the ones that discovered you had to crack the cell wall to get the nutrients. So they developed a technique where they physically tumbled the chlorella with glass beads to physically crack the chlorella. The problem is, and by the way, virtually everybody in the industry uses this technique. The problem is the glass heats up and lead from the glass leaks into the chlorella. So now you have lead in chlorella, which chlorella is used primarily for removing heavy metals and toxins, which we'll talk about in a minute. So it's a wellness algae compared to spirulina, which is a nourishing algae. So when I started the company, because I founded the company to help my sister and then anybody else be healthy, I thought, well, we can't do that. I mean, that doesn't make sense. So we found another technique that had just been developed, and it was a little more expensive, but that's what we use. And we pass our chlorella through a sound chamber, and it's vibrations that crack the chlorella. So it's a much safer technique, no heat, certainly no lead. And someone from California, my dad said, "Oh, your chlorella has good vibrations." So yes, it does. And I'm actually trained as a Reiki master, so I'm all about energy. So, and by the way, algae is the most highest vibrational food in the world. So it's, and everything in your body and in the world is energy. So you're giving yourself really great energy. So number one, chlorella does have a hard cell wall. The FDA has regulated that all chlorella sold in America must be cracked cell wall. So you don't even really have to worry about it in America. You can get uncracked in other countries, but I say, why would you bother? Because you're not going to absorb the nutrients. So that's, hope that helps with that one. But chlorella is quite an interesting algae, completely different than spirulina. It has the highest concentration of chlorophyll in the world. Remember, spirulina has the highest protein in the world. It also has lots of chlorophyll, but not nearly as much as chlorella. There's so much chlorophyll in chlorella. It has 500 times more chlorophyll than arugula, 1,000 times more than greens, 25 times more than liquid chlorophyll. Nothing in the world with more chlorophyll than chlorella. And for those of you who do like arugula, if you're like me, you'll notice that your arugula goes yellow after about day 3, right? It's because there wasn't much chlorophyll to start in the first place. You could fill up whatever room you're sitting in with arugula, and you wouldn't come close to getting the same amount of chlorophyll that's in that container right there. Not even close. So number one, chlorella has the highest amount of chlorophyll. So you may say to yourself, so what's the big deal about chlorophyll? Well, let me show you this. This is a chart that shows the chemical composition of your blood, and this is the chemical composition of chlorophyll. Notice that they're virtually identical. The only difference is chlorophyll has magnesium in the middle, and your blood has iron in the middle. That's what carries oxygen in your blood, which is very, very important. So chlorophyll has been used for centuries for healing purposes, for building your blood. They used to give people when they had surgery liquid chlorophyll instead of a blood transfusion because it would build their blood just as much. And when you have healthy blood, you're going to have healthier organs, you're going to have a healthier gut, you're going to have a healthier brain. It's just that simple. So that's number one, chlorophyll builds your blood. Number two, chlorophyll is actually a fat-based pigment. The blue pigment that's in spirulina is phycocyanin, is a water-based pigment, and it has healing properties like it stops the growth of blood vessels to tumors. It's called anti-angiogenesis. And it's a water-based, that's a water-based kind of activity. Chlorophyll, being a fat-based pigment, heals your cell walls, just like an omega-3 or D or E. So it's very healing to the cell walls, and all your cell walls are made of fats. They're called lipids, and they need to be healthy and moist to allow nutrients in and toxins out. So chlorophyll helps facilitate that. That's what's so cleansing about doing, maybe a juice cleanse. Part of it is the chlorophyll that's supporting your cell walls. And it's also very alkaline. And remember, you want that slightly alkaline pH in your cells to ensure you are protecting yourself from cancer. So that's number two about chlorophyll. Chlorophyll also kills bacteria. They historically always used it topically on cuts. It kills bacteria in your mouth. It kills bacteria in your colon, because only about 10% of the chlorophyll is actually absorbed in your stomach. The rest of it travels through your liver and down through your colon. Your liver is kind of like your, sort of like a water treatment plant. It cleans out all the toxins. And so chlorella, because it has so much chlorophyll, helps with that process. It moves all the way through your colon, through your liver. And if you take as much algae as I do, your poop will be a little green. But don't be worried about that. It's a sign. It's a badge of honor. It means that the chlorophyll is cleansing. So that's the third one about chlorophyll. On top of that, chlorella, as we mentioned, has a hard cell wall. So there is fiber in the cell wall. Not a lot, but there is some, and that feeds your gut biome. And then the most important thing about that hard cell wall is it attaches to toxins: lead, mercury, radiation, aluminum, alcohol, lactic acid, and pulls them out of your body. If because it does that, if you have any alcohol, you'll be sober in an hour and a half, because it cleans your blood in an hour and a half. It takes about 10 days to clean out your cells, and about a couple of months to clean out organs, because of the increased density of your cell structure. So because of all the cleansing and detoxing and, gut health, we call our chlorella recovery bits, because it helps you recover your day, recover from sports, recover from drinking, recover or prevent disease, because it builds your immune system as well. Now, chlorella because it has all these healing and detoxing capabilities, we generally recommend it before bed. Now, you can take it any time of day. I have it for breakfast, lunch, dinner. I snack on it all day long, and I eat it with pistachio nuts. There's a flavor I like, salt and vinegar. You can buy it at Whole Foods, a brand called Wonderful. Anyways, delicious. So you can take it all day, but definitely before bed, because your body goes through a detox repair cycle when you are sleeping. So if you have chlorella in your body while you are sleeping, it will facilitate a much better cleanse, a much better detox, a much better repair. I'm not sure if you know this, but your brain has its own lymphatic system. And when you're in deep sleep, it shrinks a little bit so that, it can be washing out the amyloid plaques or aluminum. Chlorella also has the highest tryptophan in the world, which is a precursor to melatonin, which helps you sleep. It has the highest glutathione in the world, which is also a detoxing antioxidant, which again helps with the liver. Your liver has the highest concentration of glutathione. It has a vitamin called vitamin K2, which moves excess calcium out of soft tissue like your skin, your heart, your organs, and moves it into your bones. So very, very, very healing algae, a wellness algae. So again, spirulina is a nourishing, energizing algae, both within a few minutes. Your brain acuity is improved, your physical energy is improved, and your cellular energy is improved. And chlorella is a wellness, healing, cleansing, detoxing algae. So, and now in both cases, 10 tablets a day is what we kind of recommend. I mean, you could start with 5 if you want, but 10 would help you get better health. If you have a health condition, you want to double or triple that for sure. Whether it's heart disease, Alzheimer's, cancer, brain fog, skin disorders, it doesn't matter, but just take more. And same with chlorella. 10 a day would give you the wellness benefits. For the detoxing, you need at least 20 or 30. And the good news is it tastes pretty good. So it's not such a hardship. So just a couple of reminders: AM for spirulina, PM for chlorella. The other thing to think about is because it helps with your brain health so much because of the mitochondria, and your brain has 2 million mitochondria per cell. Highest concentration of mitochondria in your entire body, 2 million. So and this has some critical antioxidants, hopefully we'll have time to talk about, that heal your mitochondria, which therefore help heal your brain. And in fact, there's a book that just came out called Brain Energy. I just realized it's packaged very similarly to our to our EnergyBITS. This is a terrific book. Dr. Christopher Palmer is a psychiatrist at the University of at Harvard University in Boston, where I'm based. And his entire book is about how all brain issues, anxiety, depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, Alzheimer's, is because of damaged mitochondria. It's not chemical imbalances. It's not anything else. It's truly a mitochondria disease. So we're going to be working with him later because spirulina is the most important thing to protect your mitochondria. And so therefore it helps your brain. So what I wanted to help you suggest to remember AM, PM, but also spirulina is think of it helping your body from the top down because it works particularly with your brain, and because this helps your gut and your digestion and your colon and your wellness. By the way, most of your immune system is in your gut. So this is a bottoms up. So top down for spirulina, bottoms up for chlorella, AM and PM, if that helps people understand how to use.
This episode of Sun and Soil is sponsored by EnergyBITS. You guys gotta try these. They are so tiny, so easy. I literally just have them with juice or water or whatever in the morning, and you feel the energy. You feel great throughout the day. You're getting pretty much all the nutrients you need that day just from some tiny tablets.
And they're great in special circumstances as well, like when I go camping. It makes getting those nutrients and from those greens a lot easier when you're out and about. Don't have a refrigerator, don't have a grocery store, but you can still get them.
So these things are 0 sugar. They're only 1 ingredient. They're going to be good for whatever food plan you're on, paleo, keto, what have you. They're basically just food, little foods you can eat. In order to get these, you can go to EnergyBITS.com and check out all their products. They sell spirulina, chlorella, a mix of both. That's EnergyBITS.com. And if you want to buy some EnergyBITS, we have a special code for you. It's SUNSOIL at checkout to get 20% off. That's Sun, capital S-U-N, capital S-O-I-L. Get 20% off your order. Yeah, go check it out.
If I can't get people to eat vegetables, I need to find something that gives them the nutrition of vegetables without any work. And I didn't know what I was going to find. I mean, this is the true joy. And it's why I'm so grateful for folks like you doing what you do, because you just step up, right? You don't know what you're going to find. You're not sure exactly how it's going to turn out, but you're curious and you're going to give it a shot. And because if you don't give it a shot, you'll never get anywhere. I have someone gave me an inspirational calendar, and there's a different, quote every day on it. And today's was, winners never quit and quitters never win. And it's like, so true, right? But you'll never get to that point of doing anything extraordinary if you're not prepared to fail. You're not prepared to feel clumsy. And whether it's riding a bike, learning a new sport, or in my case, learning about science and nutrition. I have zero academic background in biology, plant biology, pharmacology, any of the ologies. I'm completely self-taught. I mean, I got a little bit at school, but I can go toe to toe with any PhD or MD in the room because I've done my homework. I've read probably 3,000 papers, NIH papers. So my knowledge about algae came about my desire to find something that was going to give people nutrition that they needed, but in a way that was effortless. And that's when when I got to algae and found out there's 100,000 studies documenting the benefits. It's been used for 50 years in Asia. It's endorsed by all these international agencies. So I discovered algae not from hearing from somebody else eating it or swallowing it. It was from my own scientific journey to discover something that needed, that worked and was effortless. I mean, these tablets are truly effortless. And so once I discovered what algae was and how it was scientifically documented, and none of the science has been shared outside of Asia, and that it grew in fresh water, not the ocean, and that it was available in those tiny tablets. Then I started researching, well, who makes this stuff? different countries. I explored all the different countries and who's been doing it the longest and who's been doing it the best and who's got the highest GMP certifications and so I narrowed my search down to and found out Taiwan is where the best algae comes from. It's the highest concentration, the very difficult certification process, unlike China, which you can just grow your own and call it organic. The certification process is not rigorous like it is in Taiwan. So I decided Taiwan was where I wanted to be. It was the gold standard, and then started researching companies and how they grow it, how they dry it, whether they use heat, what source of their water, and I narrowed it down and found these two companies that grow it for us. I didn't come up with the tablet concept. This is how they've been growing it in Asia, in Taiwan, for 50 years. They do make it available in powder, but they also make it available in these little tiny tablets that make it easy to swallow, travel with. We have them in little pouches. So I didn't come up with algae. That's Mother Nature. B, I did not come up with the tablet. That was the Asians. They'd figured it out. But what I did do is I ensured that when I selected the contract grower that grows it for us, that all the growing methods were the highest standards, and that I would test everything. So we're the only company that I'm aware of, algae company, that does third-party lab tests here in the United States. We test for metals, nutritional value, microtoxins, everything. And it's because we sell on our website, EnergyBITS.com, and we have a 20% discount code for your community. But we sell through doctors. We don't sell through GNC or CVS, never want to, probably never will. We go through places where there's care being given to the individual, and a holistic approach to their health. So it's chiropractors, functional medicine, biohacking centers. We're getting into spas now. So they need to know for sure that our algae is pure and safe, because they're basically prescribing it. So my journey to algae was motivated by my desire to help people be healthy in a way that with something that was nutrient dense, pure and safe and easy. It was the ease part, because let's face it, in America, whether it's TikTok or whatever, it's you got a couple of seconds to encourage people to do something, and changing behavior is not easy. And what I found with all these functional medicine, and chiropractors, is they constantly are asking or recommending to their patients to add higher quality nutrition to their daily diet. But 99% of them don't, because it's too much work. People are busy. They don't have time to shop properly, cook properly. So that's why I loved algae so much, is because if you can swallow water, you get the nutrients you need in seconds. No other change needed in your routine. It'd be better if you did, and you'll probably start feeling better, and you will. But to get you started, nothing. It's as easy as breathing. So that was the key. It was getting something that was effortless into people, that gave them maximum value for minimal effort. That's algae, maximum value for minimal effort. You just have to get it into your body, and it doesn't matter what amount. Children, give them half or one tablet per their age. So they're 4, give them 1 or 2 tablets. If they're 10, give them 4 or 5 tablets. Adults, 5, we recommend 10, but you could start with 5 if you want. And on that note, we sell them in these large bags. There's 1,000 tablets in a bag. And I use that quote from NASA: 1 gram of algae has the same nutrition as 1,000 grams of fruits or vegetables, and discovered there's the equivalent nutrition of 551 pounds of vegetables in each bag. Crazy, right?
Yeah.
So it's efficient nutrition. It doesn't get any more efficient. So if you did take 10 a day, a bag would last you 3 months. That's 3 months of vegetables that you did. 551 pounds of vegetables you didn't have to carry home from the grocery store, clean, cook, or eat. Now, if you don't have an ability to have your own garden, or you live in a city environment, this is your answer, because it's impossible to get the nutrition that you need, that your body needs, your brain needs, your mitochondria need. It's impossible. It's just, I'm sorry to tell you, it's impossible. And we're surrounded by so many toxins. The average adult has something like 700 or 800 toxins in them. And so you've got to get those toxins out. And chlorella is the way to do it. And at the same time, you get 60% protein, you get a nice cleanse, a detox, a repair, you get all these nutrients that you can't get elsewhere. So they're really foundational foods. If I do my job right and help people learn, what algae is and why they need it, everyone in the world will be taking algae in the next 5 or 10 years, hopefully 5, maybe 3. My goal is to grow it here in America, probably Florida, because it's a very similar tropical environment as Taiwan. And my goal is also to teach people around the world how to grow it for themselves. So we can truly accomplish that vision that the United Nations had 50 years ago, that algae would feed the world. And there was a big article in Newsweek a couple of months ago that algae is going to feed America. It is the last chance we have for proper nutrition and to stop the terrible cycle of chronic disease. I don't know if you know this, but 50% of Americans now have a chronic disease. 50%. And if you're over 80, 65, that goes up to 80%. Who wants to live long if you're going to be unwell? It's not an attractive option. So anyways, with something so simple as algae that does so much, this is why I get pretty excited about it. I mean, I've been doing it for 13 years, and I'm just as excited about algae today as I was when I first discovered it. And we do have antidotes that we get emails from customers every single day where either, we had one from a woman who was 86 years old who was incontinent and couldn't sleep longer than an hour. And she started taking both of the algae tablets, and within days her incontinence was gone. She was sleeping through the night, and she wrote me an email saying, and today I got up at 6, I went for a 3-mile walk, then I went to see my grandson play a basketball game, then I went to visit my friends in the nursing home, I came home, cleaned out my 3-car garage, and by 5 o'clock I was starting to feel a little hungry, so I had a little bit of a dinner. And so she had these algae tablets in the morning that fueled her for the entire day. Oh, and by the way, she now does CrossFit.
Oh,
86, wow. Right? Okay.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. And we've had, other moms, gratefully saying, thank God you came up with these, because I have, young children, and we fight every meal to get them to eat their vegetables, and it was causing strain on a relationship. And now I just give them a couple of tablets, they swallow them, problem solved. She knows her kids are getting the nutrients they need, and the kids don't have to, just fight with their mother. So we restored, harmony in the family, which is pretty sweet. We have pets love these things. So if you have pets they have the same health issues that humans do. This will help their digestion, help correct any health issue. Their coat will be shiny. And, whether it's fertility or skin issues, I'm always complimented on my skin. And it's because I take so much algae, which has more collagen than collagen powder and highest antioxidants to stop free radical damage, including in your skin. So it's not an overnight thing, because your skin has to constantly regrow and recycle itself. But you may take algae for one reason, maybe it's for energy, maybe it's a meal replacement, but you'll end up getting 1,000 other benefits. It's the gift that keeps on giving.
That's awesome. And yeah, I guess you touched on this already, but what are your hopes for both yourself and EnergyBITS, but also just the world and field of algae for the future?
Yeah, well, there is so much that can be done with algae, and I'm, the nutritional is the one I'm focusing on. But my goal is to, I'm sure you've heard of Dave Asprey, who founded Bulletproof Coffee, and he's the godfather of biohacking, and he has a program where you can learn how to coach people on biohacking. So I would like, first of all, to get algae so understood and so available in North America, first of all, that people don't think of it as pond scum anymore. They know that it's, we call them bits because they're bits of nutrition. And so it's like, did you take your bits today? It's a much healthier way to get the nourishment you need. So get algae and our brand for sure more available to people, and so they understand it. Number 2 is to grow it here so that we can, I have these visions of having a visitors center where busloads of kids come in and they see the algae growing. We feed them a lunch with algae. We give them a t-shirt probably made of algae. And, it's just sort of like the Walt Disney of algae. So it's a very sort of much bigger vision. I want to start with, I have in mind called the Algae Academy, where we teach people the nutritional value of algae, and you have to go through a certification process. So then you can teach other people about how to incorporate algae in whatever lifestyle that you choose. Start up a foundation. So like I want to, I'll be honest, I'd like to build a building dog company, not for the money, but for the freedom that the money gives me to support other important organizations like yours that are teaching people how to be healthier, how to be more sustainable with natural means. So, because it's not going to happen by the government, and big corporations have their own sort of agenda. So my agenda is to be successful so that I can do more good in the world. And so algae can do more good in the world, and, teach people in other parts of the world how to grow it. There's pockets all over the world. Algae is being used for, as an energy source. It's being used as a packaging material. The Prince William has a competition now called the it's a land shot, I think, or earth shot, and they're rewarding $1 million to the top 5 companies of the world that are doing great things for the earth. The first competition was in London last year. The second one, interestingly, was held here in Boston just a couple of months ago, Earthshot. And one of the 5 winners this year was a company in the UK that's using algae to make plastic materials, water bottles, condiment containers. And so you can eat your water bottle after you drink your water. And if you don't, it will just decompose in 24 days. Amazing, right?
That's crazy, yeah.
It's called no pla. So it stands for no plastics, no pla.
Okay, cool.
There's a company in Amsterdam. There was a building, and what they did is they put plates of glass full of water and algae on all 4 sides of the building. And because algae is the fastest growing organism in the world and releases energy when it does that, somehow they have tapped into that energy. And that algae on those 4 sides are the only thing that's powering that building. There is no electricity, nothing. So, algae's been looked at for decades as a possible fuel source, although I think Elon Musk has got a better idea. So I think algae nutrition is truly where the future lies, whether it's for animal feed or helping us using it as an ingredient in other foods. That's what they do in Japan. They put it in everything. The Japanese do not leave their house without chlorella algae every day. They do not take supplements there. They just take chlorella and they put it in all of their packaged goods. And it's ubiquitous. So there's a lot yet to be done. I've been on this journey for 13 years. I'd keep finding information and nutrients in algae. We didn't even get to mitochondria. Maybe another time we can do that. But after the age of 30, your body stops creating 3 critical antioxidants, glutathione, melatonin, and superoxidase, that are the only antioxidants that can get into the mitochondria to stop the free radical damage. And after 30, you don't have that protection anymore, which is why people get chronic illnesses after 30. And algae has the highest concentration of all 3. So, like I said, you might take spirulina for intermittent fasting purposes, but you're protecting your mitochondria. You might take chlorella for wellness purposes, but you're protecting your mitochondria. So there's so much yet to be done, but I'm in for the long haul. I take algae, so I'm going to live forever. And I want other people to enjoy the same benefits that I have personally experienced and I've seen and heard from our customers. So, and we'll get some more to you guys as well. And on that note, I want people to come and visit us at EnergyBITS.com, EnergyBITS. We have a 20% discount code, SunSoil. It's all one word. Just put it in a coupon box and you'll get, it works on everything. We have bags with canisters. We do, by the way, have another brand called EnergyBITS, which is a blend of the 2 algae. We generally recommend you take them separately because if you want energy, that's spirulina. If you want wellness detox, that's chlorella. But if you don't have time or budget, we have a brand that's a blend of the two of them. So that makes it, and people when they're older, they want simplicity, that might be their choice. And I will mention one more thing. I found when I started the company that women weren't buying the spirulina. And yet I started the company because of women's health. And my girlfriend said, well, it does so much for your skin and hair. Why don't you give it a cute name and, put it in a pink package so women will be more attracted to it. So that's what I did. EnergyBITS is identical to EnergyBITS. So someone said you've got a girl spirulina and a boy spirulina. This is the one I have on my countertop. So yes, ladies, I like pretty pink too, but they are identical. I'm not trying to trick anybody. I just want people to feel comfortable with using the product, because algae can't help you if I can't get it in your mouth. So we need you to use it. And we're not trying to sell the product. So if you just want to try it out, we sell single pouches. I don't have any handy here. For $6 on Amazon. So you can just try it for $6 and see if you like it, and then come back and use your Sun Soil a discount code for your 20% discount. And just remember again that there's 551 pounds of vegetables in each one of these bags. So it's very efficient nutrition. One last thing is, I need you to know, algae isn't new. It's just new to you. The Egyptians used it thousands of years ago. The Aztecs in Mexico lived on it 250 years ago. It's been used in Asia every day for 50 years. It's just never been explained to you and you don't see it because it doesn't grow here. So why would you know it? You didn't know about chia or kiwa or matcha or collagen powder until someone explained it to you. So I'm explaining it to you now. And I invite you to go online or come to our website. We write lots of blogs. There's lots to learn, and you'll find out how amazing it is, as I have. So it's not fake. It's not a trend. It's been here for 4 billion years, and it's just waiting for us to notice it. So I invite you to do that.
Awesome. And I guess, is there anything else you haven't mentioned yet, just as we're wrapping up, that you might want to add before we're done?
Well, I think we're running out of time, and mitochondria is a whole nother conversation. So
yeah,
maybe we can come back and talk more about that another time. But I think the problem with our world is that we're always looking for the next shiny object. We're so entranced by high tech, and the irony is the things that are best for you are the most natural: sleep, sun, fresh air, love, right? Mm-hmm. These are the foundations of a healthy, long life. And algae, you can't get any more foundational. You can't get any more historic than algae. Not just the first plant on Earth, the first life on Earth. And you can't get any further deep into health than mitochondria. And by the way, your mitochondria evolved from algae, and it's all proven in science. It's a process called endosymbiotic theory. So it's good to slow down, be more present, enjoy the things that are given to us that are free. Algae is not technically free, but are natural and are gifts to us from Mother Nature. She has the wisdom that we will never be able to even come close to understanding, whether you call it the universe or Mother Nature. But you have to be quiet and you have to be observant to enjoy the benefits. So, and that's why I call it algae quiet energy, because it's like that. So it's, to me, the most foundational, fundamental thing that we need now.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Catherine. It was so interesting to learn all about this. And I wanted to ask, before you go, would it be all right if we take a screenshot of this for our Instagram? Okay. Yeah. Wait, we'll lean forward a little now. Okay. Great. Thank you so much.
And I'm just curious, what do you guys do? I mean, sun and soil, that's an interesting thing to, like, what, are you in school? Or are you studying biology or?
So we actually just graduated in the spring of last year from UC Davis. So I
was a food science major at Davis. So and then you were a psychology major.
Yeah, I
and-
was psychology, but I'm sort of like going like I didn't study it, but like I've been working the field of like journalism since I graduated, and I've always been interested in it and in podcasting. And so we kind of like both had an interest in food and the environment and all that sort of stuff. So we started making the pod. It was Noah's idea originally, but then I sort of had like knew a little bit about podcasting, so we started working together to make it.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so is this a full-time thing for you guys?
No.
Not yet,
It's
yet.
more of a side project for right now.
Are you pursuing your careers in your fields?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
So
currently
Noah,
have
what are
a,
you doing?
I'm doing a QA, like quality assurance for a coffee company currently.
Oh, nice.
So basic quality assurance stuff. And
Yeah. And I was interning at this company, a comedy podcasting company in the fall, but in actually exactly 1 week, I'm starting an internship with Southern California Public Radio. So
cool.
yeah.
Oh, nice. Well, great. Because ironic, it's so funny because my undergraduate was geography, and so I had to I did it because I was interested in urban planning, but I had to take soil biology, climatology, geology, and they were actually the courses I liked the least. I liked all the other social stuff. And now, like full circle, right here I am in a field I never in a million years would have expected that I would have ever been in, and it's touching on all of those original courses that I took when I was in undergrad. So anyways, it's I do love the environment. I don't know if I'm, Steve, heard a guest, I'm Canadian, and you can't be Canadian and not care about the environment. It's kind of part of our thing. So I don't think I could find a more perfect career for myself, and I wasn't even looking. It just like I tell people, algae found me. I didn't find it, but I'm so grateful for your interest.
Yeah, of course. It was so cool. I first heard about you because my mom went to the Quit Sugar Summit.
Oh,
and
nice.
Talking at that, and she sent me she's like, oh, this is so cool, and she sent me like a recording of your thing. She is interested in that kind of stuff.
Nice.
So that's how we first found out about EnergyBITS.
Yeah. Well, thank you for helping others to learn more about it. We'll get you some more product later this week.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And use your own code, of course, when you want to buy more. But algae is going to change the world. It just needed a voice. So it's exciting. It's exciting to me to see something that, because we know we every day we hear about how horrible all these things are, whether it's our food or fighting or blah blah blah, nutrition, and here's a bright light, right?
Yeah, totally.
So there's hope.
Awesome.
Well,
thank you so much. And yeah, and we're gonna release the episode probably around end of this month, beginning of next. So we'll send it to you when we do.
Okay. All right. Terrific.
Okay.
Thank
Fine.
you
Have a
much.
good one.
Bye.
Thank you, Catherine.
Thank you. Bye.